Hi, welcome back. Today, we're going to be covering the next three chapters in To Kill a Mockingbird, chapters 12, 13, and 14. They're the first chapters in part two. And so I just wanted to kind of go over that very briefly with you so that you can kind of understand what is expected of you, right? So I'm going to bring up the summaries here like we've done in the past. So if you take a look at this, right, chapter 12, go real quickly, and these are actually some shorter summaries, right? So chapter 12, Atticus actually has to leave town for a couple weeks because the state legislature is in session and he's a representative for Macomb County. So Calpurnia is staying at their house and watching Jem and Scout. During this time, she decides to take them with her to her church, First Purchase, which is the black church in town. Calpurnia, when she's not working at their house, she lives on the other side of town where kind of like the entire black community lives because Macomb is still pretty segregated, as we're seeing with some of the other things that are going on. So she takes them with her to church because she doesn't trust them to go to their church by themselves because they locked up a classmate from their Sunday school class in the furnace room one time. Big mess, right? So while they're there, they kind of just see how things are in that case, but they also hear some more about this case that Atticus has, right, about Tom Robinson. Tom Robinson was arrested because Bob Ewell accused him of raping his daughter. Bob Ewell might sound a little familiar, that last name Ewell. We saw his son Burris, which at Scout's first day of school. Burris was the mean one who left during chapter 3. But so Tom is being accused of rape, right? So very serious charges against him. Jem and Scout also learn more about Calpurnia and realize that as a black person, she has lived a very different life from them, even though she's sort of like family. So they think of her as, part of the Finch family, but really she has a very different experience of the world, which again makes sense for what we understand now, but the kids are just learning it then. After their experience at her church, like Scout's all excited about learning about this different side of Calpurnia. Calpurnia even says that sometimes she'll let Scout come visit her at her house. But when they show up at home, the chapter ends and they see Aunt Alexandra is sitting on the porch. And that's sort of like a cliffhanger at the end of chapter 12. Chapter 13, it's gonna be a really quick summary. Chapter 13, Aunt Alexandra lets them know that she's come to stay with the family for a while. Because Atticus is going to be really busy with the case and everything like that. So she was coming to stay to help. And Alexandra fits right in, like she just becomes kind of a cog in their neighborhood. She's a classic Southern lady. She is sociable with everyone else. She hosts people for snacks and for tea. And just seems like when she gets there, it's like she's always been there. And she's also made it sort of a point to really lecture Jem and Scout about how to behave properly. She's very much about like their family name, and you have to make sure that you are bringing pride and respect to the Finch family name. And so she's really focused on them, like sort of like behaving properly. She's really focused on Scout acting more like a girl, quote unquote, and which is something that we've seen Scout does not like at all. But that's kind of become her pet project. Told you it was short. Chapter 14. So when Jem and Scout are in town, Scout hears more about the trial and about the fact that Tom's being accused of rape. She doesn't know what this is, and so she asks Atticus, and Atticus explains it as like carnal knowledge of another person without consent, which doesn't make sense to her. So she still is sort of confused about what exactly he's being charged with. Aunt Alexandra does not like that Scout went to Calpurnia's church. She doesn't think that that's right at all. She even tells Atticus, she sort of hints at that maybe, with her being there and the kids being older, maybe he can let Calpurnia go. And Atticus shuts her down right there. He kind of lets Aunt Alexandra do a lot of stuff, but there he's like, she's a member of this family. She has helped us through so many tough times. No, right? So he kind of, he points out that like he truly respects and appreciates everything that Calpurnia does and is for their family. So meanwhile, Jem thinks Atticus is stressed about the Tom Robinson case and asks Scout not to antagonize on Alexandra, right? He says that there's a lot on Atticus's mind, even though Atticus still seems like his calm, cool self. But so Jem tells Scout, don't get into it with Aunt Alexandra because that's just more pressure on Dad. So they're about to go to bed and Scout thinks that she feels a snake under her bed. She thinks she felt one brush against her leg. But when she goes to like basically check it out and swing a broom at it, she realizes that Dill is hiding under her bed. So Dill shows up out of nowhere, right? Awesome. Jem, kind of this divide happens between the kids though, because like, you know, in Scout's mind, it's like, no, Dill wants to be a secret that he's here. We should do that. Jem tells Atticus, you know, he tattles, which is sort of like this whole, like, I can't believe that we trusted him. They find out that Dill ran away from home. Dill explains that he ran away from home mainly because his parents weren't paying any attention to him, because he actually has a new stepfather, and he said that his stepfather made promises about building a boat and doing all this stuff, but he said they just kind of like buy him things and tell him to go play with them, and so he felt neglected, so he ran away. So Miss Rachel, which is his aunt, lets Dill spend the night at their place, and he's going to be staying with her for the foreseeable future, which is big because he's going to be in town for the trial now. But yeah, so that is those are the summaries for those 3 chapters, which I also posted on Classroom. I updated that document with like the paragraph summaries as well. So that's going to be kind of what you're going to be focusing on there. The other thing is that you'll see, kind of going along with today's post, I did post another big idea tracker. I'm just going to pull this up real quickly. This one is not going to be due in a day like the part 1 big idea tracker was, but instead it's going to be something that we're going to keep updating throughout part 2, right? So if you look at it again, the same big ideas are listed up there, right? Those same 7. So what I'm going to ask is that you're going to keep following the 2 that you selected, but also kind of keep an eye open for a 3rd one, right? And then for these, all I'm going to ask you to do is, like for today, you're going to cover those chapters. I want you to find one new example for any of those ideas. So if you picked compassion and responsibility, you could put compassion right there, responsibility right there, and then you can maybe pick courage right here. You know, all you need is one new example in any of those columns. You don't need one in each of them, right? But we're going to each, like different days, I'm going to be like, all right, your assignment for today is going to be to update this document with another example. If you have questions on it, ask me. You guys have been doing great at that. And then tomorrow we're going to be reading about sort of like a big tense moment the night before the trial, and then next week we're going to be covering the trial over the course of about a day. We're going to be, instead of reading it, we're going to be watching clips from the movie to help us understand what went on and to see sort of how the trial happens, right? So other than that, again, hope you're doing well in school, and hope you're getting a chance to get outside, you know, safely, in a socially distanced, responsible way. But otherwise, I will talk to you all real soon.